In this video, let's see how to transform those 3D objects to a 2D image. Okay, right now I'm in the 3D viewer, but if I'm switching back to the 2D viewer, there is nothing. And this is because we need to render those 3D objects in 2D to be able to use them and see them in the 2D viewer. And for that, I will come to the 3D menu and I will select here the Scanline render. And as you can see, if you remember what I told you earlier, it's not a 3D node, even if it was living in the 3D menu. Why? Well, because it's a square box and it doesn't have the soft corner. But this node will allow us to transform a 3D scene into a 2D render. So how it works? Well, I will connect my object to the scanline and let's see if something happened. Well, actually, no. Nothing happened yet. And this is because we need to hook up a camera. Okay, so let's create a camera. So the camera is as well living in the 3D menu. And I will select the camera. And I will connect my camera to the Scanline render. And things are a little bit weird right now because I don't know what my camera is looking at. So I will switch back to the 3D viewer here and I will come to adjust my camera a little bit. So as you can see, my camera is in the middle of the cube right now, so this is not nice. So we'll just okay, little mistake. I want to select the Z of the camera here to just move it back in order to have my object in the frustum, the cone here of the camera. So basically, it's like in any 3D softwares, and we need a camera here to shoot at the elements we want to render into 2D. Okay, so I can move it maybe a little bit more. Okay, I should have my object now inside my scene. Okay, I will hit the tab key. The tab key is the shortcut to switch between the 2D and the 3D modes. And now I will close all my properties for now. Okay. Things open. And now I don't see anything. But if I were hitting the A key to see the alpha channel, I can see that my cube is here. And we don't see anything. The cube is black for now because we don't have any texture for the cube. But it's here in 2D. If I were to, for example, come here and rotate the cube, you can see that my cube is here. Perfect. Now, if I wanted to see in the RGB the cube as well, well, I will just have to apply to it a texture. So for now, let's do something very simple. I will come to the read menu up there and create, I don't know, a color bar, for example. And I will hook up the image input to the color bar. And now I do have a texture to my cube. Now I could do the same thing to the cylinder as well. And I will have to hook up my Scanline render to the cylinder. And we don't see anything here, but the cylinder is here, as you can see. It's just that it doesn't have any texture. So, well, it's not very well placed on the frame, but it's just here as well. And if I were to hook up the color bar to the cylinder and switch back to the RGBA, as you can see, we can see the cylinder as well. So what if I wanted to see both of those objects at the same time? Well, we could introduce a new node that lives as well in the 3D menu that's called Scene. And the Scene node that we will use as well later will allow us to group several 3D objects, 3D elements together. So I'll connect my cube here and the cylinder as well. And now I can connect the object scene of my Scanline render here, and I will have both of my objects. Last thing with the Scanline render, we do have here a BG input. And this BG input is for a background. So for example, I could come here and create a checkerboard and connect my BG to the checkerboard. And as you can see, we will have that background here and my CG on the top of it. As well, an important thing to know is that the BG input of the Scanline render is defining the output resolution of my render. So for now, if you don't specify anything, it will take the format that we specified in the project settings. However, if you were to connect another thing with a different format, for example, my checkerboard here, I could come here and change it to, I don't know, 8K lat long. Now, the render that will come out of the Scanline render will be a 8K lat long. So this is great for changing the output resolution of the Scanline render, but the problem is that it adds an alpha to the background. So sometimes what we do if we just want to change the output resolution is to plug a reformat node. And here, the reformat node, we will be able to change the formats that we want to use, and it will change the Scanline render output, but it will not fill up the background alpha. Okay, great. This is just a little tip, but don't worry too much about that for now. For now, let's move on to the next clip and see how we could apply lighting to 3D objects. See you there.